Hello, everyone. Bethel here, and I'd like to get your opinion on something. When brothers came from the moving department to put my things in boxes, they came unannounced to put my things in boxes. Only 2 days after I was notified that Bethel would be making cuts, wouldn't the brothers from the moving department be moving that entire residence in the sense that you have brothers from the moving department sent to a specific area to go and move everyone that was moving in that specific area? Wouldn't that make sense? Not excusing the short notice, because in quote unquote any worldly business situation, you'll have 30 days, at least 2 weeks, at least 7 days notice to be able to get your things together and to get your affairs in order to be able to not just find another job, but you have to find a place to live. It's not as simple as I'm just going to go and grab an apartment somewhere, because Bethel knows we weren't getting paid. So you don't have money to just go and make your own arrangements. You have to make calls and figure out who can fit you in until you can build up enough money to do other things. So that would take more time than the 2 days that I got. However, if you're going to have the moving department involved, wouldn't they go, let's say I stayed in the C residence. There was a B residence, E residence, so on and so forth. So wouldn't they go and say, okay, we're going to go to the E residence on this specific day, move everyone that is assigned to move from the E residence, and then on another day we'll go to the C residence, move everyone there that is assigned to be moved from the C residence. That sounds reasonable to me. The time that I was allowed was not reasonable, but that plan of action sounds reasonable to move according to building, according to residents, according to area. The problem that I have and what I need some assistance with, and again, 937-789-4029, let me know what you think about this, is being singled out. When my things were being packed up, I look around, I don't see anyone else's things being packed up. When you have brothers from the moving department coming to my room, I don't see brothers from the moving department at anybody else's room. As you know, I'm walking outside with all the brothers from the moving department, and those things are being put in my car. There isn't a group of us that have been packed up outside with our things being put in the vehicle. There was just myself. Now, in a business type atmosphere, it does not make sense that you have all these residence buildings. I'm talking Walk Hill, Bethel, the farm. Not the layout of Brooklyn or Patterson, but Walk Hill. You have all these residential buildings, and you're going to take brothers from the moving department and send them over to the A residence to move this person, then to the B to move this person, then the D, then back to the C to move this person, then back where you came from to the B. No, you would go and move people from a specific area all at once, because that is far more efficient and makes far more sense than having brothers from the moving department just all over the place. This would not make any sense. So why in specific was I the only one out there with my stuff packed up in my car, driving off without any place to go? While you mull over that for a moment, I don't, loosely use the possibility of racism in different instances. I normally have solid proof before I make an accusation like that. I don't do that loosely. Now, prior to any of all of this, there was an incident, there were a few incidences that I reported to my department overseer with regards to racial slurs that were made in the first department that I was assigned to work in at Bethel. So that was something that had gone on, and it got to the point where things were directly said that were inappropriate, and certain people were not being trained at all, whereas other people of a specific skin color were getting all the training and all the help and all the assistance, while other people were just standing around. That sort of thing, especially the direct, not loose or roundabout, direct racial stuff that was said to people, was reported to the department overseer. So there was racial incidences in the past that were reported to Bethel. That being said, it's not completely out of the ordinary for that to be a possibility. So looking at that as a possibility based off a history of racial incidences at Bethel, why am I the only one? I'm not the only one to have left in general, but to be rushed out, have the moving department sent and put out, and kind of a screw you, get out of here type of a situation. Why was I the only one being moved by the moving department? They're sent directly to me for the specific purpose of moving me out in a hurry, making sure that I get moved out before I even have a place lined up to stay yet. Explain this to me. Explain this to me. Were any of the white brothers given the exact same treatment? I know in that specific situation it was just me. So explain it. You explain it. This is the quote unquote reassigning involves a lot of people. There were a lot of people reassigned. When I got back, there was a sister who was also black that was reassigned from, she was an RN. Now that's a strange place to start cutting jobs. If you have RNs, you only had so many RNs at the different facilities. So it's very strange that with all the restructuring and everything, you're sending home RNs. You have people that have been working at Bethel that have been waiting for the end of the world for a long time, and they're old, and you basically have nursing homes. Some of those residences being used for nursing homes. They needed plenty of the RNs, so I don't know why they were sending home RNs. However, why didn't I see this specific treatment with other people? I haven't. I've spoken to other people, and there were some people that have had some really bad treatment at Bethel. I have to just be honest, and most of them were of color. Most of the people that have had the worst horror stories, people that were injured at Bethel and bedridden because they were hurt so bad working at Bethel, and they decide we're gonna kick you out, and they're like, no, not until I'm well, not until I'm better, not until I'm physically capable of moving on my own and what have you, am I going to be put out of Bethel. And they say, well, we're going to disfellowship you. I've heard of stories like that from people that I remember at Bethel that I spoke to, and of course this person just so happens to be black. You guys let me know. I don't use the racial things lightly. What I reported at Bethel were direct racial slurs, direct discrimination, direct. We're going to give you this position. We are not going to give you this position, and there's no reason other than the skin color. So those things were reported before any of all this. This is something completely different. And I have not gone out and said, hey, this is racism, but it's been in the back of my mind, and this is something that could have been ironed out and discussed a long time ago, but a lot of people in the organization just duck, dodge, and hide from these sorts of discussions and these sorts of incidences. You go up and you try to speak to someone about it, and they don't want to hear it, or if they do listen, they're not listening to what you're saying. They're listening with the intent of responding. Or I hear you talking to me about something, and I'm not paying attention to what you're saying. I'm thinking about what I'm going to respond with. And that's 9 times out of 10 what you have when you talk to anybody about the things that went on at Bethel that aren't encouraging and aren't what they're used to hearing in the watchtower. They're not perfect. And that is the most insane standard to use as a defense, because no one is expecting anyone to be perfect. I'm not expecting anyone to be perfect. I want to know why exactly I had 2 days that's not really enough to really sufficiently pack. So for a fact I don't have everything in order, and I'm going to need a place to stay and everything else. For a fact you are essentially throwing someone out on the street if at Bethel someone is put out so quickly that they don't have time to make arrangements. Where else are you putting them out to? You're putting them out on the street. There's no... And I've spoken to people and they're like, well, did you pray about it? Yeah. Well, then Jehovah was going to magically make a house appear. How about just giving people time to make arrangements? Why is that so difficult? Why does Jehovah have to make houses come down from clouds? Why not just give people time to make arrangements? And while we're at it, if we're rushing people out, why aren't we rushing out an area or residents? Why are we rushing out, singling people out to do that too? So I've given it some thought, and the organization is to a degree pretty diverse as far as colors and things of that sort, and ethnicities and things of that sort. And you have like one, unless there's some recent change that I'm not aware of, one governing body member of color. Are you serious? For like 100 years, you've only got one governing body member of color, and the organization itself is pretty diverse ethnically. these are just pieces to a puzzle that I'm putting out there, and you guys put it together how you want to put it together. I know that the specific incidences of racism that I saw, I reported. These things that I'm talking to you about now, as far as me being singled out and being rushed out the way I was rushed out, is just, it is what it is. This is what happened. If there was nothing questionable going on, the moving department would have come and moved a group of people, not just Marcus. And a group of people would have came and said, man, I got 2 days to get all this stuff figured out. I got to figure out where I'm going to go. I got to figure out how I'm going to get there. I got to get my car ready. I got to get my stuff packed. I had 2 days. Man, I didn't even have anything to eat. There would have been a group of people with me saying that. And that doesn't make it better, but the concept of racism doesn't pop up because there's a group of people, they're different races, and they're saying that this same thing happened to me. But if I'm singled out, then there's got to be a reason I'm singled out, and I want to know what that reason is. And having a discussion with a person in the organization, they don't want to have that discussion. So what's left? There's nothing left. If they don't want to have the discussion, they don't want to talk about it, Bethel don't want to talk about it, well, there's nothing else to do other than for us to put the facts together and try to figure it out on our own. So you guys let me know what you think about that. 937-789-4029. Ex-Wallkill Bethelite signing out.